It's now my great good fortune to have the chance to introduce our student speaker, selected by his peers for his optimism, even when times are tough, his smile, and his humility. Our speaker is going to be Raul Martinez. Before coming to Wharton, Raul worked for 4 years for Teach for America, teaching math in Los Angeles. And while he was at Teach for America, he earned an MA in public policy on the side from UCLA. Pretty impressive. At Wharton, he's been a venture fellow leading small cruise sailing trips. But the big one, I think, is as head of the Wharton boxing team. A talented boxer himself, he trained Wharton boxers to multiple victories in a really important competition, somewhat like the Eastern Conference Finals, I think, in the NBA. It's called Fight Night. Fight Night between the Wharton School and the law school. I've seen the weigh-in. It's an incredible event. I gather that the multiple Wharton successes this year, Raul had a lot to do with. I guess it's no surprise, therefore, that the other thing that apparently most people said about him, the most frequently occurring words in the nominations were fighting spirit. After graduation, Raul's going to work for Accenture Strategy in Houston to be close to his family. Please join me in welcoming him to the podium.
At least I didn't need a ladder. Thank you. Thank you all for being here today. Thank you so much. It's extremely humbling to be up here, and I just sincerely want to thank everybody, especially my classmates. So thank you. Fight hard and give more. I've always been a firm believer that commitment and a strong fighting spirit can overcome any obstacle, any adversity, and shape us into better versions of ourselves. Versions of ourselves that will be able to do more and be more. I myself humbly grew up in a trailer park and made it to Wharton. I'd be lying to you if I didn't credit an immense amount of just good luck for being here today. But I also largely credit commitment, a fighting spirit, and a willingness to give more. As we head forward, we'll be faced new challenges and new fears. We will go into banking, consulting, tech, and even launch our own companies. We'll have to navigate the challenges that come with a new location, new friends, and new friends. We'll be faced with a great deal of uncertainty and ambiguity as we continue to develop as people and as leaders who try to shape and improve this world. For me, the example of fighting hard and giving more didn't come from the hours I spent in the boxing gym as a kid, nor from that LT I took early on. LTs get degrees. It came from my mom. When I was in second grade, I had a teacher who we made particularly upset one day. His form of punishment was to give an excessive amount of homework. This one night, he gave us, the second grade students, over 200 math problems to solve. I got home and did my best to solve these problems, but as a second grader, I struggled at long subtraction. To be honest, I'm only slightly better at subtraction today. At that time, my mom had 2 minimum wage jobs and would come home at midnight each night. She would walk in and check in on my sleeping sister and me. So I set my alarm for midnight, knowing it's the time she would come home. My alarm went off at midnight, and asked my mom for help on this math homework. Without hesitation, she pointed her small kitchen table and turned on the light. Despite her exhaustion of a 19-hour day doing manual labor, she was patient with me. She never once gave me the answer. She never once offered to write me a note excusing me from the assignment. And she never once told me to go to bed. She encouraged me to keep going. It was 3 a.m. when my dad came down the hallway and asked what we were doing. He found it unreasonable that an 8-year-old was up doing homework with his mom at 3 in the morning. I remember him saying, "I'm going to that school tomorrow and giving that teacher a piece of my mind." My mother, very calmly and very lovingly, grabbed him by the hand, looked into his eyes, and said, "This is why we came to America." Thank you. My dad nodded, kissed both of us, and he went back off to bed. It was at that moment I understood what it meant to have a fighting spirit. You see, my mom never got to finish middle school in our home country, and she barely spoke English. However, she recognized that in this great nation, even those with the most humble of beginnings have the opportunity to make something of themselves and to make great contributions as long as they have a strong fighting spirit and a willingness to do more. I humbly stand before you today as that kid who grew up in a trailer park, surrounded by poverty and around gang activity. As someone who truly understands the value of the opportunity each of us has as graduates of this great school, Wharton. The opportunity to greatly contribute to this country and to this world. My ask of each of you is to fight hard so that you're able to give more. Fight through the times when it's 3 a.m. and you're working on that restructuring deal at that big name investment bank. Fight hard. Fight hard when you're giving advice, to give the best advice to your clients when you're at a prestigious consulting firm. And especially fight hard when you're building and launching that first startup. You may not see it, but the work you do will impact people directly and indirectly, most of these people who you never will meet. Fight hard through the moments of personal heartbreak and deep emotional setback. You see, by embracing a fighting spirit and embracing the journey, you'll be able to give more. Take every one of those moments to develop your talents and give to this world. By embracing the difficult, the moments of stress and ambiguity, we become better versions of ourselves and become people who can contribute greatly in any situation. The world needs your talents to solve some of its most vexing issues, and we can only get to that place if we persevere by embracing a fighting spirit and a willingness to give more. Thank you.